I was born just outside of Cambridge. My mum worked as a fruit picker in one of the many orchards in the village, and every summer and into the autumn from the late 60s onwards, actually up until about 1980, I would have worked with her. There was a very real sense of community. Growing up in the 60s and 70s, I mean, it was literally the door flung open and off you went, and you sort of came back when it got dark. So I was very lucky. I had a very almost inspiring childhood. That's where I learned to identify different types of bird life. So there were ancient woodlands, there were meadows, there was a chalk stream, which is one of the rarest habitats in England. And I think we were probably the last generation to actually have that experience of almost an unfettered upbringing. I was a forklift driver in a factory nearby in the village, and that was making roofing products for agricultural buildings. So I started getting involved as I became elected as a shop steward. When we first moved here, I came outside and I remember looking around and I was thinking, what am I going to do with this? Because I had an idea, but I wasn't quite sure how to take it forward. But what I did is I went backwards in order to go forwards. So I tried to remember, firstly, what type of trees I picked as a kid, what were the sort of habitats that were surrounding those trees, which were basically hedges, native hedges. And people just thought I was mad. The trees that you can see behind me were basically slips, they were twigs. My mum said, one day you'll have a really, really nice orchard here. You just need to work at it. And so I did. I'm still putting trees in, I'm still changing them. I'm still adding to it, I'm not taking away. We have James Greaves, Bramleys, Lord Lambourne's, Ecklandville, which is specific to this part of the Arts Peninsula. All of the trees are organic. And one of the trees which I'm very proud of is the Isaac Newton, which is the tree which is directly linked to the tree that Isaac Newton was sitting under when he discovered the theory of gravity. And that has to be true because they told me that. And I've got the DNA certificate from Brogdale. All of the trees that we can see on the outside are planted though, so you've got willow, alders, hawthorn, hornbeam, oaks as well. So they're all broadleaf, as far as possible, they're all broadleaf trees. Gardens and places like this are not places of retreat. I think they're places of attack. And I know people can can feel a bit awkward when you use the word attack. But for so many years, we've had to deal with intensification of agriculture, issues around food supplies, issues around energy supplies. And I think a small place like this is a counterculture, a countermeasure, is basically an alternative to what happens in most agricultural spaces, where you have a green sward of nothing. There's no bees, there's no butterflies, there's no diversity, there's no insects. And it all looks very green, and it does fall into that sort of Irish idiom of the green fields and stuff like that. But they're actually biologically dead. If you step over that and then come into the threshold of this, in the last year, I've had cuckoos in the garden, we've had sparrowhawks, we've had goldcrests, we have frogs, mushrooms growing over by the pond, we've got lichens growing on the trees. It's a microclimate, and it's an area in which things which we have lost have started to come back in a small way, in a very, very small way. I'm not actually a gardener, I create habitats. And I think what we need to do is we need to think of places like this as habitats, not gardens. And if we can create those habitats, in my opinion, they have to be part of the narrative, when it comes to a just transition. Every year, what we do is we have a community apple pressing. We had about 40 people here. Everybody mucked in. There were kids chopping the apples. An alternative is possible, which can be created out of nothing, out of a space, people working collectively together to achieve something, but there's no money transaction. People just simply doing it because they want to do it, because it's a beautiful space, people getting on with each other. When Stanley said, is the earth a common treasury for all to be shared by its children? And To my mind, it is. And in some small way, I've tried to do that. Not just me, but other people as well. But we've tried to do that. And I think that to me is a form of attack. That's an alternative. Look, anybody can do this. You don't need 3/4 of an acre of ground and plant 50 fruit trees or apple trees or whatever. Anybody can do this. You can do it, and you can have a windowsill. You can put a box in there. You can have a small greenhouse. You can plant a flower. You can find a small space anywhere. All of this makes a difference. Anybody can do it. And if we're going to challenge climate change, if we're going to protect what we've got and build on that, then everybody has a responsibility to do something. We can all do it.